The number one story in the world of professional wrestling is Randy Orton upsets the Indies. Yes, folks, that's right. If you've been following on Twitter and on Facebook, I know all the wrestling publications have put it out there. You know, we've been tracking it here at Duke Loves Rasslin. Randy Orton forwarded a statement about indie wrestling, and it got all kinds of people upset. I mean, this post was highly critical of the indie wrestling racket, okay? In terms of wrestlers diving all over the place, you know, I call it flippy moves mania, putting their bodies on the line and doing so for such little pay. I mean, come on. High risk, low reward. Well, guess what? Orton saw it from Rip Rogers, and he retweeted it. Next thing you know, Bully Ray, Low-Key, a whole bunch of other people are taking shots at Randy. Well, what did Randy do in return? He doubled down. He bragged about all the money he's been making for not having to do dives on the indies. Okay? Now, look, love it or hate it, Orton shared information that's 100% right. Okay? And there's plenty of blame to go around all over the place for it. I'm going to talk to my fellow fans out there. That's right. We shoulder the blame for this, at least partially, okay? You sit there and you do the this is awesome chants and all this stuff every time there's a flippy move mania thing going on there. You put the wrestlers and the bookers in a position where they feel like the wrestlers have to keep pushing the envelope, okay? What's the next flippy move? What's the next death-defying stunt that they have to do there? And let me tell you something. There's no payoff there, okay? You'll be the same person when that wrestler is paralyzed and homeless. You won't even stop to say hi to him if you see him on the street. It has to end, folks. We need to dial it back. These ridiculous expectations of what we want to say is entertaining. All of the we want tables, chants, and all that garbage, please. Just think about the Japanese legend, Hayabusa. What happened to him? Poor guy got dropped on his head. He jumped out of the ring, dropped on his head, and then look at him. He was like a vegetable after that. Couldn't even walk. Give me a break, okay? And I'm going to say one more thing. Boston Bad Boy, you and I discussed this earlier, and you told me not to go there, but I'm going to go there, okay? I'm taking the gloves off here.
Oh, boy.
There is a young man, okay? There's a young man by the name of Daniel. Lurincic. This is an indie wrestler who's top of the line.
All right.
Okay? He was the one that originally wrote the statement that Rip tweeted out and then Orton retweeted and what have you. There's some guys out there in the business, and you know who you are. They've been telling bookers not to book Daniel for putting out that statement initially. Don't book this kid. Are you kidding me? Don't book the kid for saying that it's ridiculous to be going out there diving and breaking your neck for $5 and a free hot dog and a pat on the head and say, good job, kid. Huh? You're mad at him for pointing out that that's not the way pro wrestling should be? You're mad at him for saying that we should be working on our craft? We should be learning how to do it the right way instead of all these cheap moves and cheap pops here that amount to nothing if the kid is paralyzed and never makes it to the big time? You're mad at him for pointing that out? You ought to be ashamed of yourself, okay? I'm talking to all my friends out there who are bookers. Book Daniel. I'm going to put his information out there on the Duke Loves Wrestling Facebook page. He's a hardworking kid, and clearly he has his head on straight. And you know who you are. Anybody out there that has tried to spread this nonsense about don't book him because he told the truth, seriously, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Because guess what? I'm ashamed of you.
That was almost as inspiring as the speech that the president gives on Independence Day. He says, we will not go quite. I had chills.
Hey, look.
I will say you have a point, and I will also say it goes back to what Danny Cage was talking about last week.
Yep.
That the nature of some of these promotions is to tell kids, we'll give you a shot for a nickel and a hot dog, and they're missing out on training.
Oh, yes.
They're getting lured away from the stuff they should be learning. Like I said, they're distracted from the philosophy of training to potentially injure themselves for $5. Now, if all these guys in training, said, listen, we'll come to your show, but we want to do this, A, the right way.
That's right.
When we're trained to do
right.
it.
That's
and
right.
B, for the right wage. Listen, you're not going to make $1 million. But, you can't just drive the market down to where these guys are doing it voluntarily. How far do they want it to go down? How much is enough that these kids, these people on the up and coming, how much can they sacrifice? What it is greed. It's greed. It's greed by these small-time promoters that don't care if these kids never make it to the big time.
Absolutely.
Because they're taking their pay right now.
Yep.
So it's a systemic problem in the wrestling industry. I think that the schools have been aware of it for a long time. And I think that they have a hard time keeping because the kids want it. There are kids who are hungry. But providing a bad opportunity is worse than none at all.
Oh, and it's shameful because you pump their head up with this badge of honor crap. Be a man.
Right.
This is a badge of honor to work for $5 and a hot dog. Meanwhile, you broke your neck. And guess what? We don't have insurance for you.
Let me
me a break.
Let me tell you this, and this might piss some people off.
Go for it.
Whether you're in the wrestling school, working in the ring with your buddy, quote unquote, not really wrestling, or wrestling in the ring at the promotion, it's also not really wrestling. It's also it's the same thing. So why don't you be safe? Use your friggin' head. Use the money you've been spending on a wrestling school. Put your head. Just swallow the philosophy. Get on the train. Do it the right way, and you might have a friggin' career.
Imagine that.
And you know what? You can only blame the promoters so much because they're only going to, there's always going to be some, goofballs who will go in there and pretend to wrestle that aren't trained properly. But how long is that promotion going to last? If these kids stuck together, listened to their instructors, and did the right thing, they'd have a future.
It's true. It's true.
It's time for them to stand up for themselves and refigure it out.
Well, it all comes back to the whole concept of a wrestling union, which many times has been tamped down, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It comes back to regulation.
It comes back to Vince McMahon, but that's really where
we
it comes
didn't
back
have to go there.
Well, we can always go there.